Last weekend, the official Kimetsu X account made a post that had some news in it that seemed, rather unimportant, especially to those of us out of Japan. But what if I told you it actually could tell us a lot? Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and to another video. Today I actually want to discuss something that I wasn't planning on discussing because I had no idea this was going to be announced. And you know me, I love Demon Slayer, I want to talk about it, and I think there's a lot that just happened that many people don't realize. Now before we get into today's video, I want to make it absolutely 100% clear. What I'm going to discuss in this video is completely my own predictions based off of what they've announced and doing a little bit of math. I could be totally wrong. I am never going to say anything that is absolutely factual until it is absolutely factual, as in it has been announced. So take what I'm going to say with a grain of salt. I'm going to back it up with facts and math, but that doesn't mean that I actually know what's going to happen. I am just a YouTuber who likes to talk about Demon Slayer. I did some math and I think that it warrants a video, but it's just predictions. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's dive into today's video. But before we do, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts on this news. I try and keep everyone as updated as possible when it comes to any type of news regarding Demon Slayer. So if this is your first time with the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join in on the fun. So you might be asking, Hannah, what was the news? I haven't heard anything. And that's because no one's really talking about it since it doesn't really seem to apply to us outside of Japan. And that is that they are starting a full rerun of the entire series weekly on TV in Japan. So this is the picture, and I can actually read most of what it says there at the bottom, so I'll just kind of read it off to you. So it's pretty much saying that on April 5th of 2026, they are starting to rerun the anime series that says every week on Sunday, starting at 9:30, going until 10. And as you can see in this picture, it covers all the way from the very beginning of season 1 all the way until the end of Hashira training, when they of course are falling into the castle. So a couple things first to mention with them doing this. Number one is we can assume they are not going to release the second movie while this is happening. They very well could, but it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense since they're rerunning the entire series weekly on national television. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for them to then release the second movie while this is happening. The second thing to call out is that they're not going to release the first movie episodically, as I've predicted, during this time frame either, because that wouldn't make sense that they're running all of these episodes on TV and then pausing to release the episodes of the newest movie and then resuming. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I can say that with like 90% certainty that the movie's not going to come out during this time and the episodic release of the first movie is not going to come out at this time. Now you could be saying, well, that means they're probably not going to release the first movie episodically. That very well could maybe be their plan. They're not going to release it episodically. That's always been a prediction just based off of the fact they did that with Mugen Train, but they're not going to do it during this. But hold that thought, because I still have thoughts on the episodic release. So let me explain the timeline of the show, because this is a very long run. This is well over a year. So I broke it down, and let me give you the dates of what this means if they release each actually every single week with no breaks for holidays or anything like that. This is also based off of the fact that I think they would release Mugen Train episodically. They wouldn't just release the movie on TV, so that means that Mugen Train will take 7 weeks instead of just like 1. So the timeline would be season 1 would not end until September 27th of this year. Mugen Train would not end until November 15th of this year. And then going into next year, the Entertainment District would end on January 31st. Swordsmith Village would end on April 18th, and finally Hashira Training would end on June 13th of 2027. Again, this is completely based off of the idea that they are not taking any breaks whatsoever, and they are going to be showing Mugen Train episodically, which again is likely since they are doing this as an episode rerun. Like literally it's just playing the entire show from start to finish weekly. Now here's where all of my information comes from. If Hashira Training is ending on June 13th, that is about 8-ish weeks until August 8th, which is around the same time. it would make perfect sense that this would lead right up to the second movie being released in theaters. And I could also very well see them stick the episodic release of the first movie in between the end of Hashira training and when the movie comes out. And I would say that would be around 8 episodes. It might be a little bit less. Mugen Train was 7 episodes and the runtime of Mugen Train was only about an hour and 40 minutes. It's a solid hour less than Infinity Castle. So I'm also kind of hoping if they do an episodic release, they would do like one anime original episode like they did with Mugen Train, but they don't have to. It could literally be they just separate it into 8 episodes and then they release the movie right after in Japan. So in my opinion, this just confirms this movie is not coming out until 2027, which already has been passed around a lot. I always say take leaks with a grain of salt. In this fandom, they tend to have a lot of percentage rate of being correct. I don't know if I said that properly with proper English, but you know what I mean. And I still say take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But again, I just don't feel like they are likely to release the movie while they are rerunning the series. Just in my brain, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So my prediction, personally, is that right after Hashira training ends, they release the first movie episodically, and that leads right straight into the second movie coming out. Now you might be asking, Hannah, what does this mean for when we actually get to see this first movie again? Because I know most of us are sitting around waiting. It's not in theaters here in America anymore. It hasn't been for quite a while. I want to kind of transition the video. So like those were my predictions of what this means. Now let's kind of talk where we're at now and what I think we're going to expect over the next few months with this information now that we have. This isn't going to affect the Blu-ray release. This isn't going to affect the Crunchyroll release. Whatever they plan to release, this isn't going to change that. I still think we can expect the Blu-ray release in Japan in the next month or so, and then we'll get it here in America probably by the summertime. I don't really know when it's gonna come to Crunchyroll. I'm hoping it's not gonna take that long, so we'll just have to kind of wait on that. But I know as soon as it comes out on Blu-ray, I will be ordering it so I can finally watch it again, and I'm sure many people will. But as far as the Crunchyroll release, at this point in time, we have no idea, but I do still assume it'll be at some point this year, 2026. I've talked about this a little bit, so I'm not giving you the exact dates, but when Mugen Train was coming out, Blu-ray was in like the spring after an October release for Japan, and then we got it like in the fall here in America. And then the Crunchyroll release was also around the same time that Entertainment District was coming out, which was roughly a year after the movie came out in Japan. So I think we can assume that it'll follow a similar-ish schedule. I think it's going to be a little bit later, and that's just because this movie is still running in Japan in theaters, and they're doing the Screen X, which is the like wraparound IMAX. That doesn't start until February 20th, which as of recording this is still 8 days away. So it's still running in Japan, it's still going. They're not going to release it on digital platform or streaming platform until the theatrical run is completely done. It seems very long, it is very long. This is a very long theatrical run, but they're doing it because they feel like it's the best choice. I'm not going to sit here and say whether we should agree or disagree with how long this movie is running in theaters. They've chosen to do it this way. They have every right to. There's also some people that are posting that their apps on their phones for like AMC is saying that this movie is coming back on March 6th here in the States. That has not yet happened for me. I've been checking every single day, but I have seen screenshots, so I think there is merit in believing that this movie might actually come back to theaters here at some point this year for a short period of time before it completely closes. So again, it has to fully finish its theatrical run before they're going to release it on Blu-ray. And knowing the way Aniplex and Ufotable kind of does their announcements, I don't even think we're going to get information on when the Blu-ray is going to come out until the movie's theatrical run is done, which I still think is gonna be within the next couple of months. I don't really see it running much longer than like into March, maybe a little bit of April. I think anything more than that is starting to get very egregiously long. Just release it on Blu-ray so people can watch it at home, please. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over in this video. Like I said, I think we can assume that this second movie is in fact going to come out in the summer of 2027, but we can still expect the Blu-ray and streaming release to be some point this year, just maybe later. I'm gonna remind everyone to remain respectful towards the voice actors and production staff. This is what they've chosen to do. I know that 2 years feels like a very long time in between movies, but this is such good quality that they need that time to animate, and I don't sit here and act like I know anything about the production process of an anime movie, so I feel like unless you work within the industry, it's not worth it to sit there and gripe and complain about how long we have to wait in between. A 2-year hiatus in between seasons for most animes is very normal, and I also think we need to keep in mind that technically we should count the hiatus to begin at the end of its theatrical run. It's as if it's been running for this long period of time. It just so happens that we got the whole thing in one sitting instead of it being weekly chunks. So the hiatus technically starts when it ends its theatrical run, which it has not even started. So when you consider the fact that I think that it'll be ending within the next couple of months, that means that if the second movie does come out in the summer of next year, the hiatus is technically as long as it usually is, around 12 to 14 months. Ufotable is very, very good at these action sequences. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of manpower, and I would prefer they take their time and not rush to give us something that's lower quality than the first one, or rush and make all of their production staff work long hours and that sort of thing like other animation studios have been known to do. I prefer quality over waiting less time, and while yes, I absolutely want to see this movie as soon as possible, I also understand that it is important for them to take their time with this, and if that means that it's 2 years in between the release of each movie, then it means that it's 2 years. Like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. 2 years goes by incredibly fast. We are already coming up on a year since the first movie came out. I mean, it's gonna be July before we know it. So just remember to remain respectful. I've seen hate towards voice actors. For some reason, they have literally no control over the production schedule. I've seen hate on the Kimetsu official account. The social media people in charge have no control over the production schedule either. Like, let's just be respectful and understand that these kinds of things take time. But what do you think? Is this confirmation that the movie is coming out in the summer of 2027? Do you think it's going to come out even later than that? Do you think, no, they're just going to release it at any time, even while this rerun is going? Let me know in the comments below. But that is going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, again, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment your thoughts, and I will see you all in the next one. Mata ne!